Hello everybody and welcome back to Be Joy in the Kitchen. I am Be Joy and this is my kitchen. So today, what prompts me to cook today? I've been invited to 2 different potlucks tomorrow. One for lunch and one for dinner. And I'm going to make a salad side dish for that. So I was thinking I was going to make a couple different things and then I said, Be Joy, let's just make one and double the recipe. So that's what we've got today. I'm going to be making helping you guys too, to create it's quinoa, chickpea, celery salad. Now, what prompted me to do that? Well, first of all, I love quinoa, and I'll tell you a little bit about that in a little bit. But I had all this celery left from Thanksgiving because my brother Dan and I were shopping for Thanksgiving, and he had the list because it's really his holiday. He loves Thanksgiving, and he loves cooking for it. And so we're at Whole Foods, and we're in the aisles. We had a blast. We had so much fun shopping and cooking together. And he said celery, and I go, okay, how much celery do we need? And he said, oh, just get a couple bunches. Well, it turned out the list he was reading from was a list from 3 years ago. It wasn't this year's list. So I had all this celery, a couple bunches worth, and I started to think, what can I put this together with? And I searched around a whole bunch of different recipes, and so that was the birth of this particular dish that I got, I believe, started at the New York Times cooking. Anyway, so we're going to have this beautiful celery, chickpea, and quinoa salad. So I'm going to get started. What I want to do is bring out my big bowl here. And what I'm going to do is start out with 3 cups of chickpeas. Now, if you're going to buy the can type, this will be about 2 cans. I make my chickpeas most often from scratch. Well, not really scratch. The garbanzo beans, they grow themselves. But anyway, and it's a pretty good source of protein. Most of the chickpeas today are grown, believe it or not, they're grown in India. 75% of the worldwide production is produced in India. So there we have our chickpeas. Then next, we're going to add 3 cups of quinoa. This is organic white quinoa. So this is the quinoa story. Way back in the day, about probably 86, 87, in that era, I got introduced to quinoa somehow, and no one even really knew how to pronounce it. Quinoa, that stuff with the Q, and they only sold it in bulk, and this was back in the Boston area at a store called Bread and Circus. So I was buying quinoa and using it like crazy, and I got involved with Arlene, and she had never heard of quinoa. She goes, what's this stuff? And I'm the cook, as you know, so we were eating it all the time. And one day she goes, we're done with quinoa. I've had enough. And so it took many more decades, maybe at least 2 decades for her to say, all right, I can try quinoa again as long as I disguised it as something else. Anyways, we have the 3 cups of quinoa here. And today it's, obviously very, very popular, a good source of protein, mostly grown in Peru and Bolivia. And it's a kissing cousin to amaranth, and also I think a second cousin, believe it or not, to spinach. So crazy. So right in here we've got a really good protein source. But who wants to eat just chickpeas and quinoa? I guess you could, but that's not the piece de resistance is putting the celery in. So what I have here are 2 cups of thinly sliced celery. And let me tell you, it was a great meditative practice because there's, it's not something you could put in the food processor or you get funky slices, but it is something you can slice by hand, and I quite enjoyed it, matter of fact. Celery, you can only drink so many virgin Bloody Marys, so I had to find something to do with all of it. All right, so I'm going to mix that around, 2 cups of those thinly sliced guys, okay, with my quinoa, for those of you who are in the know. There we are. The other thing is, when I met her, I was shortly after the quinoa, I started to eat raw. And that was really crazy because raw in Boston in the winter, not a good idea. Let me just tell you. Again, back in the 80s, and today raw is quite popular. I would like to think of myself as an early adopter. Now today, I'm a flexitarian and like to be flexible. All right, to that, we're going to add a cup of tomatoes. Well, a cup and a half, actually. And what I chose to do were buy the tricolor cherry tomatoes because they're less watery. And putting it in a salad together with everything else, I didn't want to, I didn't want it to get soggy because it's not actually being eaten until tomorrow. Although I might have to eat some tonight. It's looking pretty good so far. Guys, what do you think? Pretty colorful once you get those tomatoes in there. The next thing we're going to put in is half a cup of onions that have been chopped up. And I had them sitting in ice water prior to coming into the bowl here while I was waiting for you. I had them for about 5 minutes. It cuts the bite a little bit. And the other thing is, I don't know about you guys, but if you've ever been, chopping onions and they're fresh right from the store or right from the field, I should say. Well, probably the store more often than the field. But in any case, they make me cry like crazy. But if I've got a half an onion in the fridge and I cut that up, I'll tell you, it's a whole different world of experience. So we've got that onion in there. Looking good. Because I chose a red onion because that's what I had in the refrigerator that was chilling itself. All right, now we need some green color in here. And to this, I'm going to go ahead and add a 1/4 cup of cilantro and a few tablespoons of dill. And then we need a little bit of spice. And to that, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of sumac. Not always easy to find. Sumac is a Middle Eastern, it's a berry. And these are the ground berries here. It's quite bright red in color. I'm going to put 2 teaspoons in here. And it's got a really almost, it's got a great smell, but it's got almost a little pungent taste to it. So there's my sumac. I love sumac. You can make these pickled sumac onions that I've made before that I just adore. Let's see, I'm going to get a little bit different spoon here, a little heartier spoon to mix this all around with. I'm telling you. Wish you guys were coming to my potlucks with me because you would really like this. It's refreshing, and again, I wanted to make something that could sit at room temperature. So, and not something terribly summery. This is, of course, it did get cold in Phoenix this morning when we went out with Mitzi at, 6 a.m. It was a chilly 41 degrees. I had almost had my big Boston parka on, but I didn't. I just had my vest. Okay, so we've got the salad here. Look at how pretty that is, huh? Don't you just want to bite right now? All right, we've got that there. We're going to make a little bit of a dressing for it. So that's going to be 1/4 cup of lemon juice, 2 smashed up cloves of garlic. And you can use your garlic guy, what do you call those things? Squasher. Let's call them garlic squasher. I choose to I like the meditative part of that as well. A couple teaspoons here. And I'm making it in this cup, by the way. A couple teaspoons of white wine vinegar. And then I'm going to mix all this up with my whisk. Doesn't take much to whisk that up, honestly. And then I'm going to drizzle in a 1/2 cup of olive oil. So, just like, well, let me do that so you can see me doing it. See what it looks like when you're drizzling. And I'm doing it in a measuring cup because it makes pouring easier. Okay. And we're going to just, this is looking good and tasting, I can tell you, terrific. So I just want to get it all mixed up together. I'm going to pour it over that, mix it up with my spoon, and then try not to eat half of the bowl before it gets to the potlucks tomorrow. All right, there we have it. I'm going to go ahead and drizzle that all over my chickpeas and celery and quinoa. Here we are. And go ahead and mix that up. gently because you don't want to squash anything. And I'm back on the chickpeas, or you can call them garbanzo beans if you wish. There are a lot of different names to them. But anyway, regarding those, I really like doing it from the dried garbanzos. There's really a much better flavor, I think, when you do it from scratch. But again, if you're in a hurry or you don't want to soak your beans overnight, and then again, the longer you soak them, the quicker they'll cook. These took about 40 minutes. I had a cup of dry, soaked them overnight, and then, wow, this is good. Then, covered them with a few inches of water, and away we went. Okay, here we are. Wow. Smells good, looks good. I don't want to stick that big spoon in to see if it's going to taste good, but I'm going to get a spoon. Just hold on for me. All right, here's a little spoon. Just a little spoon. I want to get a little bit of everybody. And, that is good. I gotta tell you, the celery edition, gives it a kick. And tomorrow, before I go, when I pack it up in my two different bowls I'm going to bring with me, I'm going to sprinkle some more sumac on it. I love the sumac thing. Okay, so here we have it. Chickpea, quinoa, celery salad with a couple tomatoes thrown in and some sumac and a beautiful dressing. So, go ahead and be joy in your own kitchen this week. And until next time, enjoy the yum. And I appreciate all your comments, by the way, and your thumbs up and your hearts and all of that. So, thanks. Until next time.